Hello, this is my 2003 Land Rover Defender TD5. It's my daily driver. In my last video I showed how I changed the oil and replaced the two oil filters. In this video I'm going to show how I check the oils and top them up if necessary on the gearbox and on the transfer box. I'll also show a few little other jobs that I did whilst I was in, shall we call it, servicing mode. Thank you for watching. Now the engine oil and filters have been changed, I'm going to check the oil levels on the gearbox and the transfer box. The plug on this gearbox fill point is a 55 Torx. I think it's 55 or 50. It's big anyway. So here you can see I'm undoing the fill-in plug, and it's a bit wobbly because I'm holding the camera in the other hand. This is the same thing, but from a different camera angle. Basically with the gearbox you just fill up the gearbox until it starts coming out of the fill point. So if I have oil coming out of this fill point now, I know there's enough oil in the gearbox. All of that mess you can see is grease. That's where I greased up the prop shaft, and the centrifugal force has thrown grease all over the place. And sure enough, you can see how clean the oil is and it's dripping. So I know there's plenty of oil in that gearbox. So next I want to check the level in the transfer case, and the same applies here. If it comes out of the fill point, if the oil comes out of the fill point, there's enough in there. To undo this plug I just use the 1/2-inch drive from my socket. It's a little bit awkward because the handbrake drum is slightly in the way, but with the 1/2-inch drive it's easily done. It's easy to do. It doesn't have to be over tight anyway. Anyway, no surprise here, the oil's not up to the fill point, so it's obviously low, which I'm not surprised at because I know there's a very slight leak on the transfer box. I think it's quite a common thing, so I just check the level with the old McDonald's coffee stirring stick, and you can see that the oil level is low, but the oil's very clean, so I'm just going to top it up. And unfortunately I didn't film that bit, but I topped it up, and I've done a video of topping it up before, and I used the like liquid pump, cheap liquid pump, which I always find quite effective. I'm just going to check the injector harness plug to see if there's any oil running down the wiring, and it looks to me like there isn't any oil running down the wiring. If you saw one of my previous videos, you'll see that I have made a bit of a modification to the harness to try and prevent oil travelling down through it and into the plug. It does seem to be alright, but what I'm going to do, I'm not 100% convinced. I'll just dry it off a little bit and check it at another time. Now another thing I've noticed was a slight drip of oil underneath the engine, and I can see it's coming from the top here. I'm assuming it's from these bolts which travel all the way through, and it seems the oil might be following down the thread, so I'm going to put some silicone with the threads on these. Just these two particular bolts are the ones that seem to be the offenders. With all these little things like this, these little leaks, it's always a case of trial and error and a process of elimination. You just keep trying to trace the oil leak back. It's not much, but it is annoying. Nothing worse than leaving an oil patch on the ground. So I'll just tighten these up and check them in a week or so. The next little thing I've got to do is fit some sort of nut and bolt on the fixing for the acoustic cover on the left hand side of the engine. The last time I took the acoustic cover off, the bolt was spinning. There must have been some sort of captive nut on the bracket which had come undone, so I had to saw it off. So I've come up with this solution and it seems to be working fine, so that's good enough for me. Now I'm just going to change the air filter. I changed it about 5,000 miles ago, so I don't think it's really needs a change, but I'm going to change it anyway as I've got one. So I always find it best to unclip the hose from the cover, and gives you better access. Yeah, it turns out the filter was quite dirty. While I'm changing the air filter, I think I might as well just change the mass airflow sensor. I haven't changed it for quite a while, and I did read somewhere that you should really change it every now and then, so I don't know what the period of time is, but it seems a long time since I've put a mass airflow sensor on. So I've got a cheap one from China and I'm going to fit that. Needless to say, stupidly, I fitted it the wrong way round in the first place, but I soon figure it out, and all's well that ends well. The old mass airflow sensor, I think I'll just put it in the box and keep it. It might be just right for a backup should I ever need one, or if this one fails in the not too distant future. Here I'm just checking that the actuator for the wastegate is loose and working or free and not seized up, and it seems to be okay. Next I'm on to the fuel filter, and on close inspection I see I've got some sort of leak going on. With the cost of diesel at the moment, I don't think I can afford to have a leak, so I'm going to have to try and sort this out. I don't think you have to take the wheel off when you're doing this job, but I find it easier to do this, and seems the hardest bit is covering the floor up. So I put a cover on the floor and I put some tools on it to hold it down because the wind's quite strong and this stuff blows away. First thing I've got to do is remove this shield or cover, and I think normally they come with a kind of twist on and off, but that's long gone, and so there's a nut and bolt holding it. Initially I think the leak might be coming from the sensor that's in the bottom of the filter. In the past I've had contaminants in my diesel, namely water, and I want to drain the first bit off into this see-through container just to check it. Having said that, if I suspect the leak has come from the sensor on the bottom, there's not going to be any water there because it would have been the thing that was leaking out. These filters hold a surprising amount of fuel. Don't worry, that fuel that you can see leaking onto that bar is actually running down the bottom of the bar and into a bucket. I'm not contaminating the ground. Fitting the fuel filter is the same as fitting a normal oil filter. It's just spin on, and once I've got it hand tight, I then just connect up the sensor plug. Now I've got to go through the fuel filter or fuel system venting procedure. As far as I know, I've got to turn the key and listen for the fuel pump to start up and stop, and pump the accelerator 5 times. Well, I know I've got to do something 5 times, so I do all of those things 5 times. And to my amazement, my Land Rover started first time. Now, in the past, I've had some real problems getting the system vented. I've had trouble with the bleed valve, and I've had to kind of crack the nut and vent it manually. But this time, to my amazement, there was no need for that. So this is a picture of the air bleed valve assembly. The actual air bleed valve is the white plastic piece at the top. Now this whole thing costs about £30, and the only part you really need is the air bleed valve, but I can't seem to find it for sale anywhere separately on the internet. I'd be really interested if somebody could tell me where I could buy this part separately. After the engine's been running for about 5 minutes, I check for leaks and everything seems to be fine. So I'm just going to refit the cover and keep my eye on it over the next few days. So that's it, quick tidy up, clean my covering, and just refit the wheel. Job done. Thank you for watching. If you can, please subscribe. It is free. Yes, that's it. Another step closer to another road trip. My wife is just going to be so pleased.